I'm a medical scientist who was involved in a failed experiment of which you are all experiencing the consequences. I'm sorry, but you have to know. In 2007, a group of Japanese scientists discovered a way of growing new teeth in adult mice by transplanting into them lab-grown tooth germs derived from materials extracted from other younger mice. These new teeth were fully functional and indistinguishable from the old ones, and the results were welcomed by doctors in the field of regenerative medicine. However, as with many results of experiments performed on animals, the question was, would this same method work on humans? Officially, no attempts to replicate the experiment on humans were made, given the ethical intricacies involved. Unofficially, several experiments were conducted and failed. Further testing was suspended. Several years ago, another group of Japanese scientists, with strong ties to the first, published the results of a similar experiment. This time, instead of extracting biological material from one specimen, growing it externally and transplanting the result into a second specimen, the scientists discovered they could promote tooth growth in a single mouse by using a drug to suppress a certain protein in that mouse. This method was cheaper, quicker, and simpler, and it avoided many of the ethical issues which had prevented the earlier method from being officially tested on humans. Consequently, the lead scientist of the Japanese group, Dr. Ochimori, partnered with an American university, received funding from both the US and Japanese governments, and assembled a team to test the ability of the protein-suppressing drug to promote tooth growth in human beings. My mentor, Dr. Khan, was chosen to co-lead the testing, and Dr. Khan chose me to help him. In total, there were 6 people involved in the human trial: Dr. Ochimori, Dr. Khan, me, 2 Japanese scientists chosen by Dr. Ochimori, and the test subject, whom I knew only as Kenji. Of these 6 people, I am the only survivor, although, as you will come to understand, the term survivor is itself problematic, and in a sense there no longer exist any survivors of the trial, not even you. I do want to make clear here that there was no issue with consent. Kenji agreed to take part. He was a willing participant. My first impressions of Kenji were that he was a polite and humble middle-aged man whose dental problems had caused significant problems in his life, including the breakdown of his marriage and his inability to progress professionally. He was, therefore, a relatively sad individual. However, he exhibited high intelligence and was easy to work with because he understood biology, anatomy, and the foundations of what we were attempting. Hence he was, in some sense, both the subject of the experiment and an unofficial part of the team conducting it, effectively testing upon himself. While I admit that this is unusual, and in most cases improper, no once voiced any concerns until such concerns were no longer relevant. Please subscribe for Part 2,